how you're preparing, how everyone's come through it. But first and foremost, I want to talk about the unique culture. I spoke to Daryl Gibson and Glenn Jackson about the fact when you come into camp, there's such an easy group of men to get together with. The fact that they just seem to care straight. Their friendly nature means it's easy. You guys can simply focus on the rugby you're going to play. Is that the way it feels for you?
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and cheers, Goldie. You're 100% right. Like, one thing I've got to learn pretty quickly around the Fijian boys and their culture is, A, they do care about each other, and B, they're really adaptable for whatever's thrown in front of them. So, you know, we put a lot of work in and just tweaking a few things in our game. But as far as the culture goes, like you asked, it pretty much just happens naturally, and it's it's a beautiful sight, isn't it? And listening to them sing.
So I've got a bit of a random question for you, and I'm just interested because it came out today that Sia Corlesi has got COVID, and I know that you had it pretty bad when you were in France. So I heard that, you know, you're actually sending messages home saying, I don't know how this is going to go. So can you just take us through a little bit of that and whether it is actually possible to play rugby 10 days after recovering?
Yeah, it affects everyone differently, JK, and it definitely affected me pretty aggressively, and you know, I felt like my body was shutting down. It was an awful time, to be quite honest with you, and done a lot of work since that and trying to get things right, and I'm not far away. But yeah, look, it's something you can't take for granted. It's hard to explain. Like, people ask me all the time, what was it like, and 9 times out of 10 I end up getting upset because it brings back some old memories, but I won't do that tonight for you. But it is, you just can't take it for granted, and you know, it's not going away, and we've got to treat it with as much respect as you can.
Jace, obviously pretty happy with how the boys went in the weekend. What are the key work-ons for this week?
Yeah, we were, Hannah. Like, you know, when you're playing a top-tier team, you know, like the All Blacks, you can't sit back. And one thing we drove this week was we wanted to attack, and we wanted to go hard because we knew we had to, and that's because we respect them. I think one of the pleasing things for me and the coaching group was how disappointed we were in the shed afterwards with our performance and how we leaked so many points. And I saw you on the show there earlier talking about Dane Coles' 4 tries. 3 of them was the All Black 4-pack walking over top of us, and that really hurt us. So we've got some work to do there, and it's great that the boys are really showing some ownership and some drive to be better. We know that the All Blacks will be better at the breakdown, but you know, we'll be better as well, and we'll need to be. So we'll be right up for this second Test match, and I think there's a couple of areas in our game around big moments and discipline that we've got to really work on, because otherwise we're just going to be defending mauls all night.
Jace, it's Ken Laban, mate, Bulavanaka. The Fiji Drua have been in the NRC for a couple of years, as we all know. Olympic gold medalists in the sevens program. And not a lot of people know that Fiji has some quality athletes who are big, aggressive, and we saw examples of that at the breakdown on the weekend. We're looking forward to that in Hamilton on the weekend.
Yeah, look, they are, Ken. You're 100% right. Their natural power is quite unbelievable. Their power through contact, their ability to get on the ball and stay there is phenomenal. You know, they're just so explosive, so strong. So, you know, the Drua, things are going pretty well, and it's positive, isn't it, for what's moving forward. And,
awesome.
I think it's probably fair to say there's probably going to be a little bit of pain early with some results, with them competing consistently against the super teams coming into the comp. But, you just got to sacrifice that. I know they'll get better. I know that our boys would have been better for that Test match in the weekend. And, if you want to be the best, you got to have a crack at them, and it makes everyone better, your coaching, your management, your whole campaign.
Jace, will the players come back, or do you think a lot of them will stay in France? Because there's been a lot of negativity about, Northern Hemisphere taking players, but it looks like it's worked for Fiji from an international point of view.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, JK. Some of our boys are on big contracts. They're big paid players in Europe and in the UK. So, look, I probably couldn't answer that question around, would they come back? But I know that they've got to start somewhere, and there's a lot of work going in the Fiji high performance program, and Simon Rowley's really driving that extremely well and connecting with all the coaches, keeping us updated. So, and they're setting up academy, and they've got a few things in place. If they get a quality coaching group that I know that they're in the mix and interviewing at the moment, I think it's going to play a big part in ticking some boxes there. But, they've got to start somewhere. The likes of Johnny Dyer, who played 6 for us on the weekend. It wasn't long ago he was working in a coal mine with Semi Raja. And so the talent's there. You just got to trust that it's going to take a bit of time for the boys, but it's exciting. And they play some game of rugby. They're phenomenal athletes and great men to coach.
Look, you're such an exciting coach to be around. The fact that you've been part of the Crusaders. Are you interested in coaching the Drua? Is that on the radar? Any chance you might want to be a part of that?
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time I've been asked that lately, but no, I'm fully committed to the Crusaders and New Zealand rugby for the next 3 years, obviously. So,
damn.
But I've been.
he's just trying to break you up. JK's just trying to break up the team down there. He's concerned about next season. Look, we're excited about what we saw in Dunedin, but I think we're just as excited about the potential that you guys have. Look, it was great to see the way you took it to the All Blacks. You're challenging them, and the fact that you've already qualified for the next Rugby World Cup. That means you've got a couple of years to prepare. Look, keep up the great work. Look forward to seeing you in Hamilton. Thanks for joining us, mate.
No worries, guys. I'll square you up with that whiskey next time I see you, JK. I haven't forgotten.
Thanks, Jason. It was a double too, by the way, mate. You deserved it.
Hannah, for me, I asked this, Hannah, is this them arriving a little bit on the international stage? Look, they've competed on the big stage with teams, but to compete against the All Blacks for as long as they did, I don't see them going backwards from here.
No, I think you're right. And I'm just speaking about the amount of players they've got playing up in that Europe competition, if they could get just a little bit more time with their players pre the World Cup, like Japan did pre the last World Cup, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. There's
a thing called the Six Nations, JK. The fact that we've got the likes of Japan and Fiji in our own region, in the Pacific.
Do not start me on this, mate.
That's why I sort of threw it out there, knowing the fact that all of a sudden we talked about Japan last week, but
the championship needs Japan, Fiji in it right now.
And
this year.
And what are we seeing
100%.
Strong enough performances from those sides to say, you know what, we need them to be a part of it? Should that happen?
Firstly, JK's 100% right. We need to have Japan involved and we need to have Fiji involved. Fiji Drua coming into Super Rugby is going to do amazing things for their national team because in the future, the bulk of the Fiji international team is going to come out of that Fiji Drua side. So they're going to be playing the top Super Rugby franchises in Australia and New Zealand, and they're only going to become more competitive. And already we've seen in Japan, ahead of their professional competition in 2022, the quality of the coaches, the quality of the players, of the signings that they have up there, they could be very competitive. And JK's 100% right, that Japan, and it's not too late to put them in the championship right now. And I agree. That would be wonderful. But new fans, new interest, travelling on a plane full of fish. It'll add a whole new dimension.
We're just going to put British Airways on that fish plane and bring it round, bring them down.
Just drop the crayfish at my place on the way.
Is that just something else for Robbo to do? Is it just something else for Mark Robertson to get?
Robbo, give me a call, JK, and I'll give you a few.